Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Mindful Moments session. I'm going to be delivering the session today along with my colleague Helen Ashton. And just so you know, in case you're wondering, because I'm not wearing a mask, we're in the big complementary therapy room and Helen has got her mask on and is sat far over on the other side, just to give me the freedom whilst I'm speaking to deliver without having to wear the mask. So it's all safe here. So this week's session is dealing with sleep. And sleep is actually a really huge topic, and we want to not bombard you with too much information, but just give you some top tips that might really help with your sleep routine. The most common problem to sleep is falling asleep, and usually because our mind is racing with so many thoughts, and it is a stressful time for everybody. There's lots of adjustments going on. We're just moving out of the next stage of lockdown, and that brings different demands to our personal lives and our working life. So first of all, don't worry too much or don't be too hard on yourself if your sleep is a bit disrupted at this time. I think for most of us it is, and we can become very fixated on the amount of hours sleep we're getting, and it kind of creates this sleep anxiety, which doesn't help anything, because then we're waking in the morning going, gosh, I only slept for 4 hours, or I was awake every hour, and we get obsessed with this timeline of sleep. And actually, the length of time sometimes is not as relevant as the quality of sleep that you have. So if we focus on that today, the idea of the quality of sleep, I think that can just alleviate some pressures and expectations that we put on ourselves. So my 3 top tips, and Helen, like I say, is going to come in at the end of the session and go over some reflexology points for you, which will also help with a sense of calm, relaxation, slowing things down, and really help with any troubles in sleeping. Okay? So my first thing just to say is, do you have a sleep routine? And I know this is difficult with shift work or working nights. It's not as easy. I appreciate that. But if you think about it, one of the first things we instill with babies, young children and toddlers is the importance of a sleep routine. And yet at some point in our life, probably during our teen years, we just throw it out the window, and then we expect an awful amount from ourselves. So we live in a very overstimulated society at the moment, especially with the presence of social media and all those things. So every day we're bombarding our systems with lots of different types of stimulation, whether that's going on our phones all the time, or reading the news, or watching films, or reading books, or drinking caffeine, drinking wine, having alcohol, the types of food that we're giving ourselves, all these things, stress. And so there's a bombardment on the system. And then we sort of walk up to bed, lie down, and go, sleep then. And there is no calming down period for most of us. So the first thing I'd say is just take a look at your sleep routine. And you really want to be coming off of your screen, whether that's the television or your phone, at least 30 minutes before you want to sleep. But ideally, I'd say about 2 hours. And that's because the blue light that's emitted just plays havoc with our different hormonal levels, and on a physiological level it really interrupts our sleep pattern. So it's about calming down and giving yourself a space to relax, and whether that's like a warm drink, a hot bath, or maybe reading. I mean, I don't want to be too prescriptive with what it looks like, but the point is please try and instill a good sleep routine, something whereby you're saying to yourself at least an hour before you want to be falling asleep, on a conscious and subconscious level to yourself, I want to be winding down to be able to relax and fall asleep now. This leads nicely into top tip 2, which is to write things down. So if you are somebody who's thinking things through all the time, or as your head hits the pillow, suddenly you're thinking about that from 7 weeks ago, 5 years ago, like, why am I thinking this now on top of everything else? And it comes from this sort of misbelief that we have to sort everything out, that we're feeling overwhelmed, and we feel overwhelmed because we've got so many things to do and we have to do them now. So try and break that thought, because that's not actually true. And let's face it, in the middle of the night or 3 o'clock in the morning, there is very little action you can take on any thoughts that you might be having anyway. So we really want to empty this space up in our minds and give it some space so we have room to fall asleep in a lovely, peaceful, relaxed way. So whether you keep a journal, a diary, writing might not be your thing, and actually the thought of writing reams and reams is just not your thing. It's not going to make you excited in any way. It doesn't have to be like that. It could just be jotting down bullet points, just the odd word. It could even just be doodles or a picture, but something to give expression and something tangible to get out of your head whatever is whirring around. So I really do recommend keeping some kind of sleep journal by the side of your bed, and literally 5 or 10 minutes before sleep, just writing it all down, whatever it is, whatever's bothering you, just get it down on the paper. And you can even say to yourself, I will return to that in the morning, and that what is important will reveal itself, and everything else I could just let go of. And the other thing why it's good to have it next to your bed is if your sleep is particularly disrupted and you are waking in the night and you're waking with quite anxious thoughts, or isn't it strange how in the early hours of the morning you worry about things that you don't during the day? Strange, it does happen. But again, if that's then really stopping you from falling back to sleep, you can just jot those things down. So good sleep routine, get the thoughts out of your head and onto paper so you can park it, okay, and not take that to sleep with you. And the third thing, which I'm going to talk through very quickly now before Helen comes in with some reflexology points, is a progressive relaxation technique. So if you haven't watched any of the mindful moment sessions before, I really encourage you to go back on the links and have a little look. Things like a guided meditation, guided relaxation. There's so much on YouTube. I wouldn't even know where to begin to recommend things, but we can put together a little list and send that out to you if you feel it would be of benefit. But really, the reason why I say find something that you enjoy is because to get the benefit of somebody talking you through a way to relax, you really have to like their voice. And let's face it, there's a few out there where the voice is a little bit annoying, or it might not be the voice, it might be the music they're choosing to put to it. If something's not sitting well with you, it won't work. So if you literally just Google sleep app or sleep meditation, there's a whole host of things out there. So that could be really, really good. But something you can do for yourself, and it takes about 5 minutes, is a progressive relaxation technique. And I'm going to talk it through now, and you could try it now. So just sitting on your chair, or if you're listening to this at home and you're lying on your bed, whatever it may be, or even if you prefer to stand, just come to a place of stillness and let your eyes close. And just begin to slow your breathing down a little bit. So you're just breathing in a little bit longer and breathing out a little bit longer. You just want to slow things down. And as you do that, you can bring your hands to your head and just gently press with your fingers. So you want your fingers spread out over your head and scalp, and gently press, and tiny circular motions. So you'd be doing this with your eyes closed. Little circular motions. And then allow your hands to go wherever you feel intuitively like they need to go. I wouldn't be surprised if you need it around your jaw, because when we're having trouble sleeping at night, we tense our jaw a lot. So allow the jaw to open. You might want to rub in behind the back of your neck, up over your face gently, or just keep this gentle massaging of the scalp. And all the while you're thinking words like relax and release. And then, if that feels good, carry on, or you can let your arms come down, and you're moving down to your shoulders, and you just want to lift your shoulders up so they're nearly touching your ears, and then let them drop and give them a shake. So lifting up towards the ears and drop and give them a shake, and little shoulder rolls. Forwards and back, shake. And then thinking of the arms, bringing the hands up, you want to make it fists and tighten them as tight as you can. And as you're doing this, I'm going to look really silly now, you also want to tighten up all the muscles in your face. And then let go. So clench the fists, tighten your face, and let go. And bring that into the biceps as well. So like you're trying to show off those muscles, squeeze the hands and the arms and the face. And let go. Bring your hands down to your belly. And I want you to breathe in, nice deep breath. And hold that now for as long as you can. Just hold that breath in. And as you're holding your breath, I want you to bring all your focus down into your tummy area as if it's tightening all those tummy muscles. And you're going to feel some tension now in the chest because you're holding that breath, you're holding it, you're holding it, you're holding it. Your belly should start to engage and kind of ache, and you're getting to that point where you really, really, really want to breathe in and let go. Let it go, let go, shake. Down into the hips and the legs, which you can't see on the screen, but it's tensing the legs. So screwing up the toes, bending the knees, or tensing the legs. So from the top of your head all the way down your body, you are tensing up, face, everything. And then let go. And one more time, I want you to squeeze, 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 squeeze as tight as you can. Absolutely everything, even more, and then let go. And one more time, even more. Tensing, squeezing, holding that breath, absolutely everything, and let go. And just come back to your breathing. And wherever you are, on your bed or your chair, or even if you're standing through your feet, allow your feet, the chair or your bed to fully support you now, and let go into it. Feel yourself drop, release, and relax. Allow the floor, everything to support you so you can let go of any muscles that are holding on. No more holding on, breathing in and out and letting go. Okay? So that is a really simple technique that you can do, and it will highlight for you areas that you're holding tension that you weren't aware of, and even the areas that you are aware of, it's encouraging it to let go. So for good quality sleep, we need to feel relaxed and safe. So you need to have a good sleep routine that you're creating a little safety nest. You need to offload those thoughts onto a piece of paper in some form, okay? And then when you are in bed, go through this process of progressive relaxation from the top to the bottom, and it should create a warmth circulating around the body and a sense of relaxation. So well done. I'm just going to hop off the screen now. Helen's going to come in and talk through some reflexology points, and then I'll be back to close the session.
Hello, good afternoon. Thanks, Sarah. That was amazing. I was doing that too while I was sitting down in my chair. So just to really sort of round off and cap off this session, I thought I'd show you some reflexology points on the hand. Normally we do this on the feet, but obviously on the hand is very useful as well. You can do it on yourself, or you can do it on somebody who you're with to help them with their sleep patterns. So the first point on the hand that we are going to press, because in reflexology we're pressing a reflex that's associated with a particular organ or system of the body. So the first one we're going to press is on the side of the thumb, and it's right on the edge by the nail, and we're going to press that for 6 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that reflex is for the pineal gland, which is a small endocrine gland situated in the middle of your brain, and it's sort of shaped like a pine cone. That's why it's called pineal. And it produces melatonin, which helps with regulating sleep pattern. So pressing that reflex is kind of waking up that gland. So the next part we're going to do to improve sleep is to work the head area, which on a hand is the thumb area here. So either with your thumb or with a finger. I'm going to do it with my finger because otherwise the thumb's not going to block out the vision. Give that a good massage all the way around the top of the thumb, and also on the top, right on the top of the thumb as well, and that's the brain area. And that's encouraging the brain just to relax and sometimes if you're doing it long enough, you can actually feel yourself go a bit woozy, which is nice. The next area we're going to do on the hand is across the top here, which is the lung area. And if we're stimulating this reflex, what we're doing is encouraging breathing to slow down and deep breathing to begin. So again, I would normally do that with a thumb because you get more pressure, but I'm going to show you with a finger, and you just massage all over that area. And by the way, if you feel anything that is tender, it's always worth giving that a little press. And any little tender areas, giving them a little press, and that will release anything. Okay. Now the next part we're going to do is the line across your hand, which is the diaphragm area, and that's the diaphragm reflex. So again, I would be doing that with a thumb if I was doing it as a reflexology session, but for the purposes of the video, I'll just push my finger across the diaphragm line. And while you're doing that, you can take some deep breaths as well. And then finally, we come to a point in the middle of the palm, along the diaphragm line. It's sort of in line with the second finger, and we'll give that a little push in, and that's the solar plexus area. And again, it's very instrumental in relaxing the body and the system. And you can massage that quite firmly, and also some deep breaths in and out. Okay, and that is the routine on hand reflexology for good sleep. It's better performed if you give your hands a good rub first all over, maybe with some hand cream, and get them softened up, and then to do that little routine. So you've got the pineal, the head reflex, the lungs, the diaphragm, and the solar plexus reflex. And also, if you've got headaches, Tori, the head reflex here, if you massage that on each thumb and also on each finger as well, and the tips, that will help you with your headache as well. Okay, nice, simple and easy to do before you go to bed. I'll hand back to Sarah. Thanks.
Wow, well, I was also doing that then, Helen, and I feel a bit woozy in a lovely, pleasant way. So hopefully these tips for sleep today have been useful to you. As always, we're delighted to hear your feedback, suggestions, anything that you'd like us to be covering in these sessions. And also, if you've been trying out our techniques and they're helping, we'd love to know, because just getting that feedback, Helen, is great, isn't it? So I wish you a lovely rest of your week. For those of you who are watching it on sort of catch up, I hope it's also been useful as well. I'm going to end the recording now, and we shall see you again next week. Take care. Bye.